We are back with class number 4, right? Yes, class number 4, iPad, calendar, reminders, and Siri. I'm Linda Fawcus, founder of Gluu Technology Society, but I figure you already know that by now. Welcome, I hope you're well. Co-pilot Nancy is on the air with me, making sure that I have sound and things are working, so I'll wait for Nancy to give me the sound check. Looks like I'm not live yet, so I'm going to, oh my goodness. Oh, good. It's all good. There's a big delay in these live streams that is somewhat disconcerting as the host, but I'll live through it. Okay, so we started later today, and we're going to start the same time next time, just because it takes some time for Crowdcast to reset itself. They don't like back-to-back events quite so quickly, so that's why we're at 11:40, and we'll run until 12:10. So a little bit of extra time. Lots to talk about. So here we are looking at our iPad and how we use the calendar app and the reminders app. If you were in our iPhone live or in our iPhone classes, you might be wondering, how did the iPhone and the iPad work quite differently with these apps? Mostly because the iPhone has generally a cell connection, and that means when you're out in the world, you're always connected to the internet, and you can have things like location-based reminders, help guide you to the location and remind you to buy things when you're there. So that we don't do with the iPad typically, because our iPads are Wi-Fi only, which means they are generally used in our homes or at locations where we connect to the Wi-Fi. So it makes these apps a little bit different. They work a little bit differently. But the bottom line is they're the same concept. We're using, let me pull up the device here for us. There we go. Hold on. Ooh, that's pretty big. Okay, gonna get my glasses on. So that makes life a little better. Okay, so here we are looking at the iPad. So the apps we're talking about are the calendar app right here. Hard to see that, sorry. And the reminders app. And those are the two apps we are discussing and how we use that with Siri. So let's start by popping into the calendar app. So tapping it to open it. I love looking at the calendar app on the iPad just because the screen is big. And that helps me see things better without my glasses sometimes. So here I am looking at the month view of the calendar app. So a few questions we had around viewing the events that we have on our iPads. How do we see those events? So looking in the month view, as a general reminder, you're going to want to look at the top left corner. And you notice in this app, the active color is red. Anything that's red is telling you something. You can either click on it or it's drawing your attention to something on the screen. So right now I am in a month view, and I can see that right at the top. This looks different than the iPhone. So here I am right at the top with my controls over my view. When we're using the iPad and the calendar app, there's more screen real estate. So Apple can do different things. They can show us different things on the screen. So the app on the iPhone looks a little bit different than on the iPad. So here we are with our navigation through time here. If I want to go to a year's view, I just tap on years. Come on, stylus, work for me. There we go. Tapping on years and over to months. Trying to keep my hands off the screen for you. There we go. Week, day. I know. So frustrating. There we go. Okay. And day. There we go. So that's how we're tapping through time. Hopefully your fingers work better than mine. I'll try a different stylus. Tapping through time. So I'm going to come back to month view. And we are going to look at the month view. A reminder, somebody's saying, how do I see what events I have scheduled? It's a great question. It's these little gray dots under here. Those are the dots that tell you you have events scheduled. And I can tap on an event to see what it is. And so here I have my recycling and garbage scheduled into our family calendar, our home calendar, and I can see when that happens here. I don't have, so that's how we see. I'll just pop over back to the month view. That's the question answered. How do I find what days I have events on? And that's the little gray dots. You can also ask Siri what your schedule is. What is scheduled for me today?
I didn't find any appointments for today.
There you go. So no appointments. Yay. So that is how we can ask Siri what our schedule is. And you can ask Siri for your schedule for tomorrow and next Tuesday and 3 weeks from now and that sort of thing. So here we are. That's our answer to figuring out where our appointments lie. Some people like to see a week view, the week view. So I tap on week and then you can see the week view. I don't prefer this view. I find it just a little bit harder to see what's happening. I prefer the month view, but of course this is all personal preference. And if you're finding yourself getting lost in time, you're going to just head over to today and just tap on today to come back to today. That's a really good way to orient yourself. So I'll tap back on month. Okay, another question we had was about creating a calendar event. A few people said, can you just recap how we create a calendar event? And there are two ways to do that, the long way and the short way. I'm going to do the long way for you first. And it doesn't matter what view you're in, whether you're in month, day, or year even. You're just looking for the red plus sign at the top right of your iPad. And I tap on that. And here I am now looking at my event card. I'm ready to start adding the information about my event. The thing about the iPad is you can see if you're using the on-screen keyboard, it takes up all this space, right? I can't really see anything here. So the trick is to use the keyboard icon here to hide the keyboard. And now I can see everything in my event card. So that's a little trick to get rid of that keyboard. Temporarily, because I'm going to need it in a second, like right now when I tap on here, and I'm going to do a lunch where I'm just titling my event. Nancy, now we're having lunch together. Our iPad class, our iPhone class, we were having dinner. Now we're going to try for lunch. So lunch with Nancy. Snowing in Saskatoon. Yikes. Yeah, okay. I guess you'd expect that in Saskatoon in November 19th. Gorgeous sunny day here in Vancouver. Don't you just hate it when Vancouverites say how great our weather is? So lunch with Nancy, there's the schedule. See, my calendar or my keyboard's popped up and it feels like it's in the way again, but just get good at scrolling this thing up and down to disappear it. It will disappear until I need it again. So now I'm going to check my time. This is another question we had. How do I change the time or add a time to an event? So all I do is tap on starts and then use the scroll, the spinny wheel here to choose my time. Nancy and I are going to have lunch on Sunday. Let's make it at 1 o'clock. And there's that. Now I got to pull this up because I might want to add more information to this lunch. We're meeting at 1 o'clock. People were asking, what is the end time? What's this ends all about? I tap on that and we're going to have a nice long lunch. It's going to go till 4 o'clock. And the reason I would do that is that I wouldn't, if I add an end time, rather than the default 1 hour, which it would have scheduled this lunch from 1 till 2, it's now scheduling the lunch from 1 until 4. And I would then not be able to schedule, or I'd be alerted if I tried to schedule anything else within that time window. So that's useful to make sure you don't double up appointments. It's really useful if I said to Nancy, hey, let's just get out of here for a few days and let's actually have, a week away somewhere. And that's how we would change that from just a few hour appointment to a multiple day appointment, is just changing the date here for the end date. Okay, so that's what that is all about. Now maybe I'm going to change that from lunch with Nancy to some other titles. So that was another question we had. How do we change the title? You would edit your event and just simply use the backspace key, delete what you've got, and enter your new information. So changing that up, and the reason I did that is because, is because I want it to end. It is because now this isn't a lunch. We're actually looks like we're going to go away. So here we are doing a long trip, November 22 to the 27th. and I can scroll down here and notice what calendar this has been added to. So this was another question. People are saying they feel like they have too many calendars. I'll show you in a second how to delete them. I can change which calendar this gets added to, though. I don't want it in the Gluu calendar. I'm going to put it in my family calendar. And now that's more of a life event rather than a Gluu appointment. So I just tap on calendar and choose whichever calendar event or whichever calendar I want to use. So that's me adding it to a different calendar. I'm not a fan of multiple calendars. I think it gets confusing quite quickly. So if you don't feel the need to have multiple calendars, don't use them. Just stick with one. I think one works just fine for most people. Scrolling down the list here, though, another question about alerts. How do I know if my event is going to happen? And you can set alerts here. Really powerful feature. I rely on alerts because I don't want to have to remember that I said to Nancy we'd get together this Sunday for lunch, or we're going away on a trip. I would like my device to remind me of that. So what I do is we use alerts for that. And when you can have 2 alerts. So this is a trip, so I'm going to need some time to get ready. So I'm going to start getting ready like 2 days before. I want an alert 2 days before so I can start packing and getting organized. And then I'm going to need to make sure I get out of here in time to pick Nancy up and get the car loaded with all our stuff. So a 30-minute reminder before should do it. And that is how you set an alert. And that will just pop down from the top of your screen, depending on how you set your calendar notification. So this is how we control the alerts for each event. You don't have to have alerts for each event, but for those events you're needing to get things organized for, or you really don't want to forget, alerts are one great way to remind you that they're happening. Scrolling to the bottom, we had a question about the add URL URL. We pronounce that URL like the name. That's just a name for a website. So you could put a website address here or some notes. And that is me creating my event, my travel with Nancy. Now, Nancy has no idea that I'm planning this trip with her, right? She's on this live stream, so now she's figured it out. But I should send her an invite to this. And this is an Apple to Apple thing. It's a handy invite thing. What I do is I just click invitees and I tap on that and I use an email address to send to Nancy. I put in Nancy's email address and she will get a link to this calendar event. And so that is the handy dandy way to include someone else into the event. So that is invitees, email address only. That's the only trick with that. You can invite as many people as you want. I think the limit might be 99. I'd have to double check that, but probably you'll have different ways of communicating with that many people. But adding your family, adding people into events is a really useful way to help them remember that you're getting together. Definitely. And it makes it easy for them to add it to their calendar. Now, Nancy wouldn't have to go add this information to her calendar. She just clicks on the event link that I sent her when I invited her and put in her email address. She clicks on that and it's automatically added to her calendar. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to add this event. And there it is underneath the little dot underneath the 22nd. I can tap on that day and here's my travel with Nancy, right? There we go. So going back in time, I can see all the details I have for the event, and now I can edit anything I would like within this event by tapping on edit, right? So that's how we take a look at our event. I can go back to my month view. And here it is here. You see the dots that have appeared under here now. And that's because this is a multiple day event. It's going from the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, this whole time. Nancy and I are getting together. So that's what all these multiple dots are. And there's my travel with Nancy block. That's because I made that a multiple day event. Okay, so we were asked that question. How do we make multiple day events? And creating an event. That's the long way to create an event, no doubt about it. Before we get into the short way to create the event, I want to show you while we're here the calendars option, because people are asking, I have too many calendars. I don't want all these calendars clogging up my view. I totally get that. So that's where you would tap on calendars right here. So here we are looking at the calendars on this device. You can have a lot of calendars, or you can have very few calendars. So let's take a look at the options that are here. These are customized. I'm scrolling down the list. You can see I have a shared calendar. So here's a shared calendar that I can delete now because my mom is no longer with us. But this was a really handy calendar that we created when my mom needed our help a little bit more than she used to. And so we created a shared calendar, my sisters and I, and that's what we would use to keep track of her appointments and things we needed to help mom with. My sisters and I were all invited into the calendar, so any one of us could add calendar events or edit calendar events or delete them. It's just a really streamlined way for us to keep track of everything that was happening in our life with mom. Much more efficient than us texting each other and saying, can you make this appointment, or are you available at this time, and all that. The shared calendar was just the really simplest way to do that. And when you share somebody into a calendar, how do we do that? That was another question. Let's look. So I'll share somebody into this Marple calendar. I tap on the I and I share with, add person. Simple as that. Enter their email address. It's as easy as that to share this calendar with other people. So a shared family calendar is an amazing thing to have. I have it set up for my family. So my son and my husband and I have one shared calendar, and I can add events to it and they can see the events. Sadly, I can't force them to react to the events or even look at the calendar, but it makes me feel good knowing that I'm sharing the garbage schedule and the recycling schedule and where we're supposed to be when into a shared calendar just for the family, immediate family. And I did that by creating a calendar and adding them by email address here. They have to accept that they want to be part of that calendar, and I did force them, I admit. And so it doesn't just automatically happen that that person is sharing the calendar with you. They need to accept to do that, and when they do, then you're sharing your events everywhere, and that's a really helpful way to keep track of all of those shared events. So that's one reason for having more than one calendar, right? If you want to have a calendar that's shared with people, that's a reason for having another calendar. But if you want to keep your life simple and just have one calendar and not have all these different lists of calendars here, you have a couple of options. You could just turn those other calendars off. Just don't look at them. And you do that by tapping on these little circles here. Right? So when these are the 6 calendars I have set up on this iPad. So so what I can do, if I don't want to see the Gluu calendar here, I just turn that calendar off. I haven't deleted any events. It just means I can't see that calendar. So it streamlines my view. I can turn off the shared calendar, and I can turn all those off. So now all I see is my home calendar. If I did want to go back and take a look at the shared calendar, I could just turn it on, right? I would just go back down here. I'd tap on calendars and turn it on or off. What we do experience fairly often is people saying, I've lost all of my calendar events. They're gone. What happened to them? And it probably is that these were turned off by accident. And so you probably haven't actually lost any information. You just have to make sure the check marks are on, and that makes the calendar visible. Some people saying, okay, what's the story with the birthdays calendar? And this birthdays calendar exists and shows you the birthdays for all those people that you have added birthdays to their contact card. So I didn't say that super clearly. Remember way back when we learned how to use the Contacts app? When we did that and we created a new contact, let me create a new contact, hide that away. You can see the add birthday section of the contact card. Refresh your mind back in the contacts lesson a few lessons ago on how to do this. But when you add a birthday here, right, that appears here in the birthdays calendar. And that's what that is. You can't add to the birthdays calendar from the calendar app. You need to do that through the contacts app. So that's what that is. Turn it on or off if you don't want to see it. Canadian holidays. If you don't want to see them, turn them off. If you want to subscribe to a different calendar, holiday calendar, you can come down here and you can choose your different. Oh, sorry. No, that's not how we do it. We would add a calendar. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to include it in the notes. I don't want to take time on showing you how to do it. If you want to change your holidays calendar to a different country, so America, the UK, Japan, whatever, I will show you in the notes on your dashboard how to do that. But this here is, I am subscribed right now to the Canadian holidays calendar. Okay. So Siri suggestions was another question we had on Siri suggestions. What is that? Well, what Siri is doing, if I allow it to, Siri is looking through my emails and my messages in a private way. Nobody sees it. Apple doesn't see it. It's just Siri technology scanning through my messages, picking up dates from those messages. So if Nancy had texted me, hey, Linda, let's go away next Friday, and she texted that to me, Siri can say, hey, we found an event with Nancy next Friday. Do you want to add that to your calendar? And that's what this Siri suggestions is. If you don't like to see that information, just turn that off. But that is a pretty powerful way to make sure you're not missing any appointments that people have texted you or emailed you. Siri helping you sort of round up all of those appointments into one place. All right, so then somebody wanted to know, well, how do I just delete a calendar? I don't want all of these calendars, even though I can turn them on or off. I want to delete them, finally delete them. And so here I am looking at this calendar. I no longer need this calendar. So I can look at my calendar view. Let me just remind you how we got here. We're in calendars, tap on calendars, scroll down, whoop, past it, and tap on the eye. Okay, and so there's the people that I've added. Go all the way down to the bottom, and now I can delete calendar. Okay, so I tap delete, and I confirm that I'm deleting it. Boom, done. And now when I look at my list, that calendar is gone. So that's as easy as it is to delete a calendar. You just look at the calendar you want to delete, tap on the eye, and get to the bottom, and you'll see delete. You're remembering in Apple's world, you don't just delete something with one tap of a button. They do ask you twice, like, are you sure you really want to delete that? And I have an option to cancel that. If I don't want to delete that, I can just tap anywhere else and hit cancel. So that's how we delete a calendar. Okay, so I'm going to pause there on calendars because I want to head over to reminders. I've only left a little bit of time left for reminders, which is not good of me, but that's okay. We'll do more lives. We'll cover this in detail more. Reminders app. All right, tapping into the reminders app. This iPad has been updated. It has been updated. So I'm just trying to get a list that isn't reading list. There we go. So if yours might look a little different than mine is my point here. So here we are looking at the concept of the reminders is the same though. You can see this iPad has a lot of lists. Yours might only have one list. This iPad is set up with a lot of lists. You can add a list. This was a question we had. You can add a list by tapping here. Just add list. Create a name for your list. You can change the little icon if you want. You can hit done. You can choose the color. I got a football list. Change it to red so you can use all this stuff. Sailing. There we go. Sailing lessons. Hit done. And now I have my test list here. So let's take a look at it. There's nothing in my test list because it's brand new. So adding a reminder the long way is just tapping on add reminder. Here you go. There's a good thing to start with. If you're going to do some sailing, get a boat, hit done. There I am. That's how easy as it is to add a reminder. Tapping on a reminder, and you can hit the little blue eye to remind you on a day. I'm going to buy a boat. Let's buy a boat. July 19th. Done. So that's as easy as it is to add a day. That's the long way of adding a reminder. Remind me in 3 months to buy a sailboat.
Okay, reminder added.
So there we go. I'm now going to buy a sailboat just like that. If only it was that easy. And so here I am buying a sailboat. It's scheduled this. Sorry, I'm using the wrong iPad for this class. There you go. Get a boat, July 19th. And the sailboat reminder will also be here. But using Siri to remind you to create, to do things is really powerful. I urge you to definitely check it out. People were asking with the reminders app. Sorry, I'm bouncing all over it. Boing, back over here. People were asking, how do I see the completed reminders, or how do I complete a reminder? You just simply tap on the little circle here, right? When that's now a completed reminder. And you can show all your completed reminders. It makes the list really messy and long, but there's some completed reminders. I can just check all those guys off. And now in the new app, the new interface here for reminders, you've got things that are supposed to be happening today, things that are just scheduled with any date, and then all of your reminders. Those are 3 different categories here. And then anything you flagged. But down here are all your lists. And you can see that you can share lists with people if you want to have people shared into your reminders list, or just create your own list. If you want to delete a list, here's a list that has nothing in it. Gluu, empty. Probably created this in another class. I tap on the 3 little circles at the top to delete the list, and I can delete list. And again, it's going to remind me, really? You really want to delete it? I really want to delete it. Okay. And that's the same way we are going to take a look at showing completed, right? So right here, showing completed, trying to get all my to-dos off the screen here so you don't have to read all my to-dos. So that is the basics of the reminders app. But what I wanted to also remind you of is how to use Siri to create a reminder and to create a calendar event. So remembering that calendar events are places that you generally are supposed to be at, and reminders are things you're generally supposed to be doing. So schedule a dentist appointment for next Tuesday at 11 a.m.
It's on your calendar on December 1st, 2020 from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Tap it to see it. I can now make changes to that if I want to change the time or the date or something by choosing edit. I can also add alerts to that if I want it to be alerted for that event. Okay, so I can now say, when is my next dentist appointment?
Your next appointment on December 1st, 2020 is at 11 a.m.
So that's how we can find, that's one way we can find our appointments. Remind me in 3 weeks to cancel the Acorn TV subscription.
Okay, reminder added.
So this is I used this in the video as well, but to remind you that if you have all those free subscriptions you're looking at, or you want to do the free trial of something and you want to make sure you don't get paid or you don't get charged for it, if you have a free month, I like to put a reminder for 3 weeks out to remind me to cancel it. So I've got a week to actually cancel it before I get charged. That's why I don't say remind me in 1 month, because I'd have to react to that reminder immediately. So that is you using Siri. I know I did that fast. You can do automated Siri without even touching your device if you're going to use the Hey Siri command. I say that really slowly because I don't want my devices to wake up when I say that. That's another, of course, you can do it even easier without even touching your device if you use the Hey command. But using your home button works just as well too. And if you have a home button on your device, you can just hold it down and Siri will listen to you the whole time you're talking, rather than being impatient and pausing or stopping you if you pause and you think about what you're saying. So those were the main wrap up of questions about calendar and reminders. Somebody's asking where their dashboard is. Tessa, to see your dashboard, you log into your lessons, and after your student login, you will see the main dashboard, which is where you see all your classes lined up, and the icons that will take you to your class lessons. So that's what your dashboard is. And that is where we post the video for this, the replay for this, that we're going to throw up on YouTube for you to view later. You can view the replay of this right now, though, on Crowdcast right where you are. You'll just have to scroll past the countdown timer in the beginning. But this will be available right here until the YouTube one is available. So you can right now rewatch it. And practicing with calendar reminders and Siri. If you're still uncertain if this is a process that will work for you, I just urge you to give it a try for a little bit and just see if you can find a way to make it work for you. I know for a fact, after teaching thousands of people how to use these apps, that this is a really useful and powerful combination. I'm not just throwing technology at you because it's available. I want you to use the technology that I know will make your life happier, healthier, and more connected. So give it a shot. And if you maybe just don't want to do the calendar app and you just want to test out the reminders app, that's all good. The lessons are going to be available to you forever. And you can just come back and learn how to use calendar later if you want or not, right? This is just an exploration of what technology can do for you. We are going to be adding step-by-step instructions to your lessons in the class dashboard. In each lesson, people have said they like the videos and the audio. They want more video and audio and step-by-step instructions. I think that's the way to roll as well. So we are going to be adding that. Probably not for the next lesson, but we are updating all class content for January. And you will, of course, have access to all that updated content in January as well. So thank you so much for being here and participating. And I will see you people online next time, 2 weeks from now. Your next class launches next week. Don't look for that email first thing in the morning. We need that day on Thursday to send that to you around before 5 o'clock on Thursday. So that's the new launch time for the classes. And any questions, you will see the ask. You can use the any questions button on on any one of the lessons, and we are looking at those. And that's it. I'm going to wrap up. I'm sort of scattered right now. I think I need to go get a coffee or something. I got to remind myself. Here we go. Remind me to get a coffee in 30 seconds.
Done.
Excellent. Done. See you later. Have a great day, everybody. Stay well, stay safe. See you next time. Bye.